The billionaire stood frozen in the doorway of the nursery, his heart aching in ways his wealth could never fix. His twin children, Jacob and Lily, lay quietly in their cribs, their tiny legs motionless, their eyes wide and searching for a world they couldn't yet reach. Ethan Vale, the youngest billionaire in New York, had built skyscrapers that touched the clouds, funded startups that changed the world, and yet here he was, completely powerless. The doctors had told him gently but firmly that the twins would never walk. Congenital paralysis, they'd said, their voices clinical and detached. Money couldn't heal this. For months, Ethan watched his children's laughter fade. Lily no longer tried to crawl. Jacob no longer reached out for toys. His wife, Vivian, couldn't bear the pain. Their once happy home turned silent, cold, and mechanical, like a mansion built from grief. That was when Rosa came into their lives. She wasn't supposed to be anything special, just a maid sent from the agency to help around the house. She was quiet, soft-spoken, with warm brown skin and eyes that seemed to carry stories of both sorrow and hope. Ethan barely noticed her at first. To him, she was just another staff member keeping his household in order while he buried himself in work to escape reality. But one night, he noticed something unusual. Ethan had returned home late from another charity gala, exhausted and empty. It was nearly midnight. He passed by the nursery and saw a faint light. Curious, he opened the door silently, and froze. Rosa was there, kneeling beside Lily's crib. The twins were awake, giggling softly. Rosa was humming a tune he'd never heard before, something tender, like a lullaby passed down through generations. Her hands glowed faintly under the nightlight, not with magic, but with warmth. She massaged the twins' legs with something from a small wooden jar, an herbal paste that filled the room with a strange, sweet aroma. Ethan watched in silence. There was something mesmerizing about the way she touched them, as if her hands spoke love louder than words ever could. When she noticed him at the door, she stood quickly, embarrassed. I'm sorry, sir, she said, lowering her head. I didn't mean to intrude. They were crying earlier. I was just helping them sleep. What were you doing? Ethan asked, his tone sharp, though not angry, just confused. It's something my grandmother used to do, Rosa whispered. She said the body can sometimes remember love better than medicine. It may not heal, but it brings peace. Ethan said nothing. He simply nodded and left. But that night, he couldn't sleep. There was something in her voice, something genuine. Over the next few weeks, he started noticing changes. Tiny, impossible changes. Lily began laughing again. Jacob started moving his fingers toward toys. Rosa spent hours with them every day, singing, massaging, talking softly, telling them stories about stars and angels. She didn't treat them like broken children. She treated them like miracles waiting to happen. Vivian, meanwhile, wasn't happy. She didn't like the maid touching her children. She's just a servant, Ethan. You can't let her fill their heads with false hope, Vivian said bitterly one night. But Ethan saw what Vivian didn't. He saw their smiles returning, their spirits awakening. For the first time in months, the house felt alive again. Then, one morning, the unthinkable happened. Ethan was in his study when he heard Rosa scream, not a cry of fear, but of astonishment. He ran upstairs, his heart pounding, and when he entered the nursery, he stopped dead in his tracks. Lily was sitting upright, her legs trembled, wobbly, but they moved. She giggled as she tried to pull herself up using the side of the crib. Jacob clapped his tiny hands, laughing. Rosa's eyes were full of tears. Ethan's mouth went dry. What? How? Rosa looked up at him, shaking her head, speechless. I don't know. I was just singing and rubbing her legs like before, and suddenly, she started moving. Ethan fell to his knees beside the crib, tears filling his eyes for the first time in years. He didn't know what to believe. Was it faith, coincidence, or something divine? The doctors couldn't explain it. They called it a rare spontaneous improvement. But over the next month, both twins began to show progress. Their legs grew stronger. They could stand, then take a few shaky steps. Ethan couldn't stop watching Rosa with awe and gratitude. Every day, she'd arrive early, tend to the twins, and treat them as though they were her own. There was no magic, just love, patience, and belief, but Vivian couldn't accept it. She accused Rosa of trying to manipulate them, of pretending to be a miracle worker. "You think you're their savior," she snapped one morning when Rosa came into the living room with the children. "You're just a maid. Know your place." Rosa flinched but didn't respond. Her eyes lowered in humility, not shame. But Ethan saw the pain behind them. That night, Ethan confronted his wife. "She's done more for our children than any doctor or therapist, Vivian. Maybe you should open your eyes instead of your mouth." Vivian glared at him. "So you're taking her side now? A servant's?" "I'm taking the side of the truth," Ethan said quietly. A storm settled in the house after that. Vivian became distant, and Rosa seemed ready to quit. One morning, she came to Ethan with her resignation letter. "Sir," she said softly, "I think it's best I leave. Your wife doesn't trust me, and I don't want to cause trouble." Ethan's throat tightened. "Rosa, please, don't go. The twins need you." Her eyes glistened. "They don't need me anymore, sir. They just need to keep believing. You must promise me one thing, don't let their world go cold again." And then she was gone. Days turned into weeks. The house felt emptier than ever. The twins asked for her constantly, and Ethan didn't know what to tell them. He hired doctors, therapists, specialists, but none could recreate Rosa's magic. Then one evening, after tucking the twins in, he found something under Lily's pillow, a small, carved wooden angel. On it was etched a simple phrase, "Love heals what medicine cannot." It was Rosa's handwriting. Ethan sat there for a long time, tears streaming down his face. He realized then that Rosa hadn't just healed his children, she'd healed something far deeper. She had taught him the one thing all his billions had blinded him to, the power of love that asks for nothing in return. Months passed. The twins were walking freely now, running, even. The media called it a medical miracle, and Ethan gave interviews, always saying the same thing: sometimes miracles wear human faces. But deep down, he knew the truth. One day, after a charity event for disabled children, Ethan visited the old neighborhood where Rosa used to live. He brought the twins along, hoping to find her. After asking around, they found a small house at the end of a dirt road. Rosa was there, older, thinner, but with the same warm eyes. She gasped when she saw the twins running toward her. "Miss Rosa!" Lily shouted, throwing her arms around her waist. Rosa knelt, hugging them both tightly, tears falling freely. Ethan stood behind them, his voice breaking. "You changed everything for us." She smiled softly. "No, Mr. Vale. You changed when you chose love over fear." Ethan reached into his pocket and handed her an envelope. "This is for you. It's not charity, it's gratitude. You've given my children their lives back." But Rosa shook her head. "Keep it. Just promise me one thing, use it to help others who can't walk yet, who need someone to believe in them." Ethan nodded slowly, overcome by emotion. "I promise." Years later, Ethan founded the Rosa Foundation for Hope, a rehabilitation center for children with paralysis. He named it after the woman who reminded him that healing isn't always found in hospitals but in hearts that care deeply enough to try, and every year, he'd visit her with the twins, who by then could run faster than anyone else their age. When asked one day how they recovered, Lily would always say, "Because someone loved us like we weren't broken." And Ethan would smile, knowing that was the truest answer of all. Because sometimes, miracles don't happen in hospitals or laboratories, sometimes, they happen quietly, in the hands of a humble maid who believed that love itself was the greatest medicine of all.